With who's the man and who's the game manager. Latest article on FoxSports.com titled "Why Mahomes is More of a Game Manager Than Purdy." The article references a very game manager-esque quote that we ran last week from Patrick Mahomes. Take a listen.
Whenever they're rolling like that, I have to kind of manage my game. That's stuff that I've learned throughout the season is even if we're not having the success that I want to have, the defense is rolling and getting stops. Let's just take the safe choice, get the ball out of my hand, don't turn the ball over, and let's go win a football game.
Well, Brock Purdy said that. Henry McKenna writing, his career, this is Mahomes, has been all about exceptionalism, particularly in attempting and completing throws that no one else in the history of the NFL could make. And yet this year, he's more of a game manager than ever. So, Nick, do you agree that Mahomes is more of a game manager than Purdy?
Yes, because Brock Purdy's not a game manager, and Patrick Mahomes is anything you want him to be, he's the best. Do you need high-flying 50 touchdowns, 5,000 yards first year as a starter? I can give you that.
Okay.
Do you need checkdowns? And the defense is daring you to take the short stuff. He won the MVP doing that last year. Like, folks are late to the Patrick Mahomes game manager party because last year his air yards plummeted. Last year, all of it, and he won league MVP. Do you need him to put protecting the football and managing the game first and foremost because you have a great defense? Yeah, he can be the best at that too. He currently is on the longest playoff streak in history without throwing an interception because this is the first time in his career he's had a great defense. And oh yeah, by the way, do you need him to be a scrambler? Great running with the football? Well, the two biggest plays of last year's playoffs were Patrick Mahomes with his legs. So he can be a game manager. He can be a gunslinger. He can be whatever you want him to be. People conflate these two terms when it comes to Purdy or other quarterbacks. Game manager, which he is not, and system quarterback, which he is.
Oh.
Purdy,
You're saying Purdy's a system quarterback?
I'm saying Brock Purdy is a system quarterback with some gunslinger in him. Brock Purdy is like a homeless man's Brett Favre, miniature-sized. He is going to make some wow plays. He is going to make some what are you doing mistakes and throwing across his body. He is the wows and yikes we've talked about all year. Brock Purdy last year might have been. This year has not been a game manager. Brew keeps showing the stats about tight window stuff. That's not game managing. Right. And I keep bringing up because Brew loves PFF so much all of a sudden. They have him 8th most turnover-worthy throws, which is one of their stats on it should have been picked, but it wasn't or it was. So I don't look at Purdy as a game manager, and I look at Mahomes as a quarterback chameleon that if it demands game managing, he will do it.
Okay. This year, I agree with a lot of what you said, but this year Mahomes has definitely been more of a game manager than Purdy. And we got a graphic. These are some game manager stats, if you will, that would define what that is. It'll be up in a moment. But so here we go. Air yards per completion. That's past the line of scrimmage. Purdy almost doubles Mahomes. Purdy's second in the league in that.
Yeah.
Mahomes 31st. All right, you see the completion. Targets to your running backs and tight ends because a lot of those are check downs and not going far down the field. You see Mahomes way more. Look at yards after catch. Mahomes leads the league in yards after catch this year. 63% of his yards were after the catch.
Well, I don't think that's game managing if you get yards
I think that's game managing. I think those are your teammates have to run with the ball, but that's a short pass that they turn into something. In fact, earlier in the year, you were using that against Purdy. Like if he throws a 7-yard pass to Debo and Debo takes it to the house,
I use
that against him. So I do think that's you have to have it's on your teammates. If they can't run after the catch, you're not going to have many. But I would characterize that as somewhat of a game managing stat. But here's why Mahomes is not viewed, and rightly so, as a game manager, because he's already shown us how spectacular he is.
Sure.
If this was his first year, people would be saying he's a game manager. You know, but he's shown us how great he can be. And even last year, he didn't dip like this. His yards per attempt were still higher than this, a career low. He still threw for 41 touchdowns. He didn't even hit 30 this year. So this is, to me, like James Harden. And I know he's better than James Harden, but I'm just saying, Harden in Houston was a 30-something point scorer. When he went to Brooklyn, and now you see it with the Clippers too, he became more of a true point guard. He still give you 20, 22 points, but he was giving you 10, 11 assists and the third scoring option. So we wouldn't look at Harden in Brooklyn or now with the Clippers and say, oh, he's just a pure point guard. Because we know when he wants to and needs to, he can score like anybody else or as well as anybody else. Same thing with Mahomes. We know when he has to, he can put on the cape. But for this year, he has been more of a game manager.
Okay.
So I think people misunderstand, though, what a game manager is. I'm not talking about you. Like, I think at no point do I think if you've watched Brock Purdy this year, has game manager been what jumps out. Jalen Hurts last year, absent the running. His quarterback.
But just say absent the running.
No, I'm saying the style in which that offense was run, and that was Dak Prescott's rookie season.
Oh, yeah,
he was a
absolutely.
game manager. I would argue Daniel Jones last year was a game manager. When you are saying we are not looking for the spectacular, what we are trying to do is avoid the mistake.
Right.
That's game manager. That to me is different than system quarterback, which is the bucket I would put Tua in, the bucket I put Brock Purdy in, which is real. And I know you don't think this question's interesting, but that's the reason I think system quarterback label exists is because they are saying if he were in a different system, he would not have nearly the same level of success. And so that's where it is. As far as game managing with Mahomes, he has, and we can show you the streak he's on, he has totally flipped the script on what he values in the postseason. He now is hyper vigilant with taking care of the football, and it dates back to last season once he got hurt, really, and I think he knew we're not going to be able to overcome some stuff because he might not be as explosive. Now, in the second half against the Eagles, they were. But I think game managing to me is putting a higher priority on avoiding negative plays than making explosive plays. I don't know if you agree with me, Brew. I don't think that's Brock Purdy's MO at all.
He's aggressive.
I think Brock Purdy is sometimes too aggressive. I don't think he's a game manager.
And he showed in these playoffs that he can make off-script plays. He can avoid the sack. He can scramble. He made some throws that, like you said, you shouldn't make, and they were completions. So, yeah, the system QB thing is interesting. Tom Brady obviously is the GOAT. And we know he was viewed as a system quarterback even after his first 3 Super Bowls, right? But it's interesting because when he left the system, initially, he didn't struggle, but he wasn't playing great in Tampa Bay. Remember that? And then he worked with Bruce Arians, to tweak it and get it a little closer to what he had done in New England, and the rest is history. So it's interesting because Lamar Jackson, they've incorporated, initially they had the Greg Roman system for him. Now you got a system that's kind of geared toward him.
Yeah, and
Purdy will have to show. We'll see. I mean, it may be years from now before we see him in another system.
See, and I think
Vừa xem xong video phân tích của chúng tôi, sau đây sẽ là video hướng dẫn cách làm một kiếp gạo màu đỏ như thế này của tôi. Bây giờ các bạn vào làm cùng tôi luôn nhé. Rồi, ok. Trước khi bắt đầu vào làm, các bạn sẽ chuẩn bị cho mình những dụng cụ sau đây. Ở đây mình có chuẩn bị tờ giấy màu đỏ như thế này. Tiếp theo, các bạn sẽ chuẩn bị cho mình một cây kéo này, một cái bút compa, một cái bút chì, một cái bút bi màu đen và một cái thước nha. Cuối cùng các bạn sẽ chuẩn bị cho mình một cây súng bắn keo nhé. Bạn nào mà không có súng bắn keo thì các bạn có thể dùng các loại keo dán giấy khác như là hồ hoặc là băng dính hai mặt, mình đều có thể thay thế được nha. Tiếp theo các bạn sẽ chuẩn bị thêm cho mình một tờ giấy màu vàng này nhé. Rồi, sau khi các bạn đã chuẩn bị xong đầy đủ dụng cụ thì bây giờ chúng ta sẽ bắt đầu vào làm luôn nha. Đầu tiên các bạn sẽ lấy cho mình tờ giấy màu đỏ nhé. Các bạn sẽ đo cho mình chiều rộng của nó là 6 cm nha. Còn chiều dài sẽ là 10 cm nha. Rồi, sau khi đã kẻ xong một cái hình như thế này, bây giờ các bạn sẽ cắt ra cho mình nha. Mình sẽ sử dụng cây kéo như thế này để mình cắt nó ra nhé. Đó, mình đã cắt xong một cái tờ giấy như thế này rồi. Bây giờ các bạn sẽ cắt thêm cho mình một tờ nữa nha. Rồi, vậy là mình đã cắt xong hai cái tờ giấy màu đỏ như thế này nha. Bây giờ các bạn sẽ đẩy nó vào cho mình như sau. Mình sẽ dùng băng dính hai mặt để mình dán này. Các bạn sẽ dán vào hai bên như này cho mình. Rồi mình sẽ dán bên còn lại này. Tiếp theo là hai cái phần đầu này nhá. Mình cũng sẽ dán nhé. Rồi đến cái phần đầu cuối cùng này. Rồi bây giờ các bạn sẽ bóc hết các cái phần màu trắng này đi cho mình để mình dán nó vào nhé. Rồi bây giờ mình sẽ dán vô này. Các bạn sẽ dán như thế này cho mình nhé. Mình sẽ dán từ phần này nhé. Đó. Tiếp theo là mình sẽ dán hai cái phần này. Hai cái phần trên này. Vào đến cái phần dưới này. Đó, bây giờ các bạn sẽ bóp cái này ra cho mình cho nó được phồng này. Đó, trông nó sẽ phồng như này nhé. Bây giờ thì các bạn sẽ cắt cho mình phần đầu của cái vỏ kẹo thành các cái lưỡi cưa nha.